I have made mention of this 1,000 times, but it's worth repeating, as finally I see newspapers and other commentators, as I mentioned earlier in the program, waking up to it. When will this Dr. Phillip Lowe, the Governor of the Reserve Bank, be tapped on the shoulder and asked to go? This fellow has presided over the most misguided monetary policy is about the price of money, fiscal policy is about how much money you spend. He's presided over the most misguided monetary policy our nation has probably ever seen. We've had inflationary spending from government, the lowest of the low in interest rates, all of which have fuelled inflation and hit Australian households very hard. First home buyers have gone out on a limb and paid a deposit for a home with all their savings on the seeming assurance that interest rates, remember, wouldn't increase until 2024. Note Lowe's words last November, which I've told you about many times, quote, "It is still plausible that the first increase in the cash rate will not be before 2024. Then the guru continued to wonder, quote, "I find it difficult to understand why rate rises are being priced in the next year," that's this year, "or in early 2023, unquote. Yet Phillip Lowe and his 1,342 staff are now telling Australians, quote, "It's unclear at the moment how far interest rates will need to go up." And they went up again today. Time's up, come on. One policy failure after the other, and it's the hard-working battler who's getting punished at the petrol bowser, at the supermarket, and now at the mortgage. They can all send their thanks to this Dr. Lowe. Any observer with half an interest in the economy could have told you months ago that the economy was running too hot. People were too liquid because of government stimulus packages, and this would result in runaway inflation. But this isn't just happening in Australia. All around the world, central banks are living in a parallel universe and unwilling to tell the public the truth, glossing over the economic turbulence ahead. The public deserve to know what is coming, not to be sucker punched by it when it arrives. The Economist magazine editorialised the other week about how central banks everywhere are refusing to admit that to now tame inflation, it'll probably require a recession. They may already have one in America, as you heard from Peggy earlier tonight. On the US Federal Reserve, The Economist said, rules of thumb for how central bankers should respond to underlying inflation say rates should be much higher. The Fed's dawdling over the past year has worsened the conflict between its competing goals of stable prices and low unemployment, unquote. But then in Japan, their central bank is just as delusional. The Economist writes of Japan's economic situation, quote, "The trouble is that expensive imports are squeezing living standards, alarming the government." Early this month, The Economist says, the bank's governor had to apologise, cop this, for saying that households were becoming more accepting of price rises, unquote. I suppose that's okay if you're on $500,000 a year. It seems we aren't the only country with an out-of-touch central bank, highly paid and overpaid. I've argued for weeks, but this is serious and it's worth repeating. Phillip Lowe, the Governor of the Reserve Bank of Australia, should be shown the door today. The last federal treasurer let him get away with pie-in-the-sky economics. The current one, Jim Chalmers, should deliver the boot immediately.